That's all. Yeah.
I'm so nervous,
No, you're fine,
actually.
You're fine.
I'm nervous because I thought someone is going to say start.
What is vibing? This is Vish, and today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
Strategic planning and sustainable business development.
I'm a meditation coach and I've got hundreds of people on their meditation journeys. If you have any questions about it or want a one-on-one session with me, either comment down below or message me on Instagram at VishVibez. Sadhguru is a yogi, mystic, and visionary who's truly enlightening the world. And today I'm here with...
My name is Madhu and I'm an HR professional and I've done my master's in human resource and I'm here to share your views on this particular video. And this is my nephew and I'm his aunt.
And so yeah, she's my aunt from California, Los Angeles, and she's currently visiting Austin, Texas, where I live.
Let's get into the video.
The thing for activists like us is not just observing the system, it's about how we continuously strive to change that system so it serves more people than it currently serves. And the shape of the pyramid begins to change. So I suppose we're both activists, and there are many others I'm sure in the audience, who are trying to create this better world, using different routes, different methods, but with the same aspiration.
In the last 20 years, I have focused a lot on the business leaders in the world, because those 1,200 people who gather at the Economic Forum, they control almost 80% of the world's economy. If their minds and hearts changed a bit, things would change. When in India they introduced what is called as corporate social responsibility, 2% extra tax, of all the people, I benefit from that because our schools, our medical things in the rural areas, everything gets funded by this corporate responsibility. But I said this is not good. People were shocked that I am talking against it. So I told them, see, the nature of business is such, we call something a business because it benefits two people. Any transaction in the world is sustainable only if it benefits both the parties. Whether it's a marketplace or marriage, this is the fact.
That's true.
It should benefit both the people. If you create any model which does not benefit both the parties, you cannot sustain it, you have to constantly give it injections. So, the only good thing about the market economy is this, that there is competition and competition. So, whatever the unilateral things that have happened, dominance has happened in certain areas, I think we must inject serious competition so that entrepreneurship is all over, that if you make really good food all over Johannesburg, McDonald's should become empty by itself. You should not try to close it down. If you try to close it down, then it becomes a different process that you cannot control. When I don't like you, I will want to close you down, that will lead to a completely different spiral. So, the business leaders, if their way of looking at life changes, then you can, instead of making a whole lot of money, billions of dollars and then contributing to some cause, you can structure your business in such a way that every customer is in some way a partner with you. So we thought of mooting a fund where we said we call this 1%.com, we started at that time, the Economic Forum was very active. Later on, because the 2008 recession, everybody backed out of that. So this is something that I brought in, I said, if we can convince all the governments, at that time it was very close, we had spoken to people, whatever you spend on your military, 1% of that you contribute to this. And here, the top-level business brains will sit on it and see how to do business in those societies which are impoverished, where proper businesses cannot go and make profit. So you give them very soft loans, almost 0% interest or 1% interest, 20 years, but you have to do business in that area where nobody wants to do business right now because it's not profitable, because money is expensive, they don't want to do business there. So very low-cost money you give them so that they can do business, so that there's entrepreneurship all over the place. I think that's the only way to fix it. Is it the best thing? I don't think so at all. But is there a better option? I don't see any. The best way is to bring little more consciousness into the business leaders. The best way is to bring more competition into business so that competition levels out unfairness of business that is happening.
Wow, that was a beautiful video. And I'm curious, Auntie, so you have an MBA background, right?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us more about that?
Sure. So, I've actually worked for many MNC companies with a human resource background of mine, and I've seen that there are many companies which come with a separate wing for CSR, like what Sadhguru mentions. And I feel that every company, almost like all these big MNCs, they have the wing. They have a separate team which works in terms of, you know, how best they can give back to the society. And there are a lot of programs actually where all the employees are involved, and then you have on a monthly and a yearly, you have a separate budget for it, where they use a lot of resources in terms of understanding that particular local communities, and how they can get involved more and more in terms of supporting those communities. It can be any ways, you know, whatever ways they choose to do.
Ah, I see. So very fascinating to see how you've had practical MBA experience with the HR work that you did, right?
Yes. So I started my internship at Nestle in Mysore, and from there I worked for big MNCs like Wipro Peripherals. I worked for Himalayan a company which specializes in all natural products, like I mean, it's all the herbal care for people. I work for them, and majorly I think I've seen there where they have like a huge wing which works in terms of the CSR, and they have a lot of these I would call specialists, because the domain itself is CSR, like mine as human resource. So they are specialized in CSR, where they come up with this.
And what does that stand for again, CSR?
The corporate social responsibility.
I see.
So in simple layman's term, I would say it's just like giving back to the community. So all these huge companies, like Sadhguru said, they want to get involved with the local communities,
Yes.
where they can see like what are the opportunities in terms of, it can be people, it can be giving better living conditions, you know, and they find out, they do this kind of research and find out like how they can give back to the local communities.
Ah, I see. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
And I'm curious, what did you think about the video itself specifically?
Oh, well, I think Sadhguru feels that these companies can do better. And I truly feel that too, because, you know, when companies think that CSR is more like comes from their heart, especially from the hearts of the leaders,
Yes.
than just like, you know, they create a team and there's a team and they just want to keep a certain percentage of their profit working towards those departments or the community. It would be better if they can think in terms of their heart, where they could really get more and more involved. To quote an example like Crowd Era, right? That is something which has come up in recent terms, where it's just a platform where people who need help come there, and people who are willing to help, they meet on that particular site. So I, in recent past, have seen that it brings or helps a lot of people in terms of solving their personal issues, where they're able to gather a lot of money. I mean, mainly it is financial resources, but again, my point is there's a platform.
Yes.
So I truly believe that with all the technology and new apps coming in our way, we should be able to do more in terms of creating app or a platform,
Yes.
where people can reach out to these big companies, not just in terms of saying like, okay, this is what I can do and this is what I'm going to do, but more, you know, real and more organic way of doing things.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
And I definitely love what you mentioned. It seems like you have a lot of experience in this area, so thank you for shedding that light.
Sure.
And yeah, that was also a beautiful video by Sadhguru. And to kind of keep it simple from the side that I have in terms of the view, I'll have to just say that him talking about things like politics, business, coming from that spiritual background is really beautiful, because it goes to show how being conscious, being aware, really pervades every aspect of life.
Sure.
Whether it's brushing your teeth, or it's making the world's biggest economic decision, right?
True.
It's super important to just be conscious, just to be aware. And so I really like the way Sadhguru's getting involved. And more than just involved, he's just bringing about awareness, right?
Very true.
Especially in these other areas of business, and how they should be more conscious. And if they are able to be conscious, and even the little percentage increase in consciousness will have a profound impact, as he kind of described. I definitely would vibe with a lot of that message, and really just think that at the end, being conscious is all that matters. It's all about awareness. And naturally, as he said, with regards to specific business practices, like, for example, the monopolizations that might be occurring, I think, as he said, really just allowing the business to flourish naturally, I think will be very important, very organic. And introducing more companies to increase competition will be also very beneficial. Compared to, as he says in other videos, based on your dislikes and likes, or move certain companies out, and doing things like that, I don't think is fair. And so it's all about organic, natural growth. At the same time, with conscious awareness, and that is all that you need. Naturally, everyone will be benefiting. As you were saying earlier, a business really just operates on the win-win of a situation with the consumer as well as the seller.
True.
And so both have to be benefiting. If that's not happening, then that's where things eventually go wrong. And so it's really important to be conscious about that, and that no party is getting unfairly treated. And it is also important to note that I've actually heard he had a business background growing up. I think I did hear, yeah, surprisingly, before he got into this whole spiritual stuff, he was actually a very successul businessman from the town he came from.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Exactly, and so it goes to show that he has some knowledge, especially experience in that area. And I'm just really grateful for him to really shed all that light in this area from the spiritual perspective.
Interesting, I did not know that.
Yes.
I'm also really amazed to see how Sadhguru is so multidimensional, because all the gurus in the past, whoever I have confronted or I have come across, they focus into one particular line. Maybe it's more about personality development, or creating consciousness in human beings. But then Sadhguru is one person I feel that is so multidimensional. Like, he talks about business, he talks about people, he talks about everything, and he makes so much sense in whatever he speaks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any other video requests, please comment that down below. And if you have any thoughts about the business practices that Sadhguru talked about, also comment that down below too. With that being said, make it a great day, take a joy fun, stay conscious. Awesome job, Auntie. And that's it. That's a wrap.